Nandana Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tirara Vanachari Yamuna Tirara Vanachari Yamuna Tirara Vanachari Yamuna Tirara Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare, Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gaur Nitai ki. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. All Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. I think she'll need a Portuguese translation. How is it going to work?
I'll go there, translate.
Well, are there many people online watching who need Portuguese? What is your name?
Maria Cristina.
Maria Cristina. Wow, what a beautiful name.
Thank you.
Reminds us of Jesus.
Yes.
Very nice.
Translation with microphone.
Sorry?
I do the translation with the microphone so people can listen online also.
You would get a microphone?
Yes.
Or you can take this one.
We have another one here.
Do the neighbors not complain about the noise?
No. Not very often.
They're mostly tourists.
They're mostly tourists.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare.
There's they were very noisy last night. I don't know if you could hear them. I don't know what time they started stopping dancing up there above the room I was in. Yeah. And perhaps it's the floor or something, but it sounded like a herd of elephants upstairs for quite a while. Nothing you can do about it. I guess if they're tourists, Friday night is the night of celebration, isn't it?
Yes.
Friday night, Saturday night are their favorite nights.
Portuguese? You have a Portuguese table, okay?
I don't know.
Porto, I think the restaurant. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Now, if there are people online, it's better you use the microphone. From my point of view, it's the further away, the better. It's echoing like anything. It must be very high. I mean, even here it's echoing. I'm speaking very quietly right now. I prefer not to. Which verse is it, Joe?
10. 11. Sorry.
11. So we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 9, Text 11. 10, 9, 11.
Is better?
I don't know. I get it. I'm not. But I'm worried he needs to be heard online.
Yeah, both.
Hare Krishna. Much too loud. I don't need it at all unless it's some.
You need to record the lecture because the microphone is on the camera.
I see. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well,
Should I reduce it more?
maybe a little bit. I don't know. But then, how will Joe be heard? You have a microphone?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you go. Okay, fantastic. Well, we'll do our best today to hear from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is Mother Yasoda binding Lord Krishna. And the Portuguese is such a fine language, I can't even hear it.
So, can you turn a little down? Also, this one.
Excuse me?
Nitai,
Oh.
can you turn the volume down on this one also?
Well, I'm just going to read through the verse and then we'll go straight into the translation. And maybe, I don't know. Kritagasam tang prararudanan Rudantamakshini kashantaman janmasini sapanina urvikshamanang maya vivalekshanam haste grihitva vishayantya vagurat. Translation. So this is continuing this wonderful pastime. When caught, have you got the translation there also?
Yes, I have.
Okay. When caught by Mother Yasoda, Krishna became more and more afraid and admitted to being an offender. As she looked upon him, she saw that he was crying, his tears mixing with the black ointment around his eyes, and he rubbed his eyes with his hands. He smeared the ointment all over his face. Mother Yasoda, catching her beautiful son by the hand, mildly began to chastise him. Translation.
Tradução. Ao ser pego por sua mãe, Yashoda, Krishna foi ficando mais e mais assustado e admitiu ser um ofensor. À medida que olhava para ele, ela via que, estando ele chorando, suas lágrimas misturavam-se como um nojento negro em volta de seus olhos. E à medida que ele esfregava seus olhos com as mãos, ele untava com um ungento todo o seu rosto. Mãe Yashoda, segurando o seu belo filho pela mão, meigamente começou a castigá-lo.
Purport. From these dealings between Mother Yasoda and Krishna, we can understand the exalted position of a pure devotee in loving service to the Lord. Yogis, Gyanis, Karmis and Vedantists cannot even approach Krishna. They must remain very, very far away from him and try to enter his bodily effulgence, although this also they are unable to do. You can translate up to there.
Tradução. Através deste relacionamento entre Mãe Yashoda e Krishna, podemos entender a elevada posição do devoto puro que presta serviço amoroso ao Senhor. Os yogis, os jnanis, os karmis e os vedantistas não podem sequer aproximar-se de Krishna. Eles permanecem bem longe dele e tentam entrar em sua refulgência corpórea, embora também não consigam nem mesmo isso.
Great demigods, like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, always worship the Lord by meditation and by service. Even the most powerful Yamaraj fears Krishna. Therefore, as we find in the history of Ajamil, Yamaraj instructed his followers not even to approach the devotees, what to speak of capturing them.
Os grandes semideuses como o Senhor Brahma, o Senhor Shiva, sempre adoram o Senhor através de meditação e serviço. Até mesmo o poderosíssimo Yamaraja teme Krishna. Portanto, como mostra a história de Ajavila, Yamaraja instruiu seus seguidores a nem sequer aproximarem-se dos devotos, e muito menos agarrá-los.
In other words, Yamaraj also fears Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Yet this Krishna became so dependent on Mother Yasoda that when she simply showed Krishna the stick in her hand, Krishna admitted to being an offender and began to cry like an ordinary child.
Em outras palavras, Yamaraj também teme Krishna e os devotos de Krishna. No entanto, este Krishna tornou-se tão dependente de Mãe Yashoda que bastou que ela mostrasse a Krishna a vara que estava em sua mão para que Krishna admitisse ser um ofensor e começasse a chorar como uma criança.
Mother Yasoda, of course, did not want to chastise her beloved child very much, and therefore she immediately threw her stick away and simply rebuked him, saying, "Now I shall bind you, so that you cannot commit any further offensive activities, nor for the time being can you play with your playmates." This shows the position of a pure devotee, in contrast with others like Jnanis, Yogis, and the followers of the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies in regarding the transcendental nature of the absolute truth.
Mãe Yashoda, evidentemente, não queria infligir severo castigo ao seu amado filho, e, portanto, logo jogou sua vara fora e apenas censurou Krishna, dizendo: "Agora vou amarrar-te para que não continues cometendo atividades ofensivas, e, por enquanto, também não poderás brincar com teus amiguinhos." No que diz respeito à natureza transcendental da verdade absoluta, isto mostra a posição do devoto puro, em contraste com outros, como Jnanis e Yogis, seguidores das cerimónias ritualísticas védicas.
Hare Krishna. Is this, Maria, your first time here?
Maria, é a tua primeira vez?
You've been before, huh? Yeah. So I don't know who is listening, whether everyone is familiar with this particular pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam.
Não sei quem está a ouvir, não sei se estão familiarizados com este passatempo do Srimad Bhagavatam.
It will be quite, let's say, maybe bewildering or perplexing to most people who have some God consciousness.
Será pouco diferente para as pessoas que têm uma consciência de Deus.
If this is God, then what is this? He's taking the role of a little boy and he's crying.
Se isto é Deus, ele está a tomar papel de uma pequena criança e está a chorar.
God is afraid.
Deus está com medo.
God is running
Deus está a correr.
for Mother Yasoda.
Está a correr à frente da mãe.
And when he sees the stick, he starts to become fearful and starts to cry.
Quando vê o pau, começa a ficar com medo e a chorar.
Sounds like an ordinary child.
Parece como uma criança normal.
Well, let's look at a few aspects here.
Vamos ver alguns aspectos aqui.
First of all, the understanding of God is that God can do anything he likes.
Uma compreensão de Deus é que Ele pode fazer tudo o que Ele quer.
Is that correct? What do you think? You think God can do anything he likes?
Yes.
Yeah. By definition, normally we would understand that's true.
Por definição, podemos compreender que sim, que Deus pode fazer tudo o que quer.
So the simple answer to that is God likes this.
A resposta simples é que Deus gosta disto.
He likes to appear sometimes, always, not only as, but he certainly likes to appear as a child.
Ele gosta de aparecer muitas vezes como uma criança.
And he likes to experience loving relationships.
E gosta de experimentar relações amorosas.
Loving relationships with his devotees.
Relações amorosas com os seus devotos.
God has a relationship with everyone.
Relações com toda a gente.
But in the material world, God's relationship is basically unseen, more or less unseen to people in general.
Mas no mundo material, a relação com Deus muitas vezes não é vista pelas pessoas em geral.
We can see some degree of relationship with the material energy and the living entity.
Podemos ver alguma relação com a vida viva.
Generally, people's relationship with God is that God is like the controller, the provider, the creator.
Que nos providencia, que é o Criador,
We generally approach God for some material adjustment.
Normalmente aproximamos a Deus para algum benefício material.
He's the big owner, he's the big, decider and so on. So if I approach him, then maybe I'll get what I want.
Se me aproximar a Ele, talvez eu ganhe o que quero.
Mm-hmm. And usually the highest thing that people ask for is to go to the heavens.
O mais elevado que as pessoas costumam pedir é ir para os céus.
Here we see some indication in the purport here that some Jnanis, they want to gain liberation from the material world altogether, above heaven and hell, above the material energy.
Então aqui vemos neste significado que alguns Jnanis querem atingir algo mais do que acima do céu, da terra.
Very quiet. Don't forget, Maria is also here. She needs to hear. He needs to hear here. So it's a very distant relationship with God, this type of relationship. It's not very personal.
É uma relação muito distante de Deus, não é ela muito pessoal, este tipo de relação.
Well, let's take an example.
Vamos dizer um exemplo.
You have a friend.
Temos amigo.
All the friend does is simply ask you for what they want.
O que o amigo costuma fazer é pedir o que quer.
Okay, they have some relationship.
Sim, tem alguma relação.
But it's not a very loving one, really.
Mas não é uma relação lá muito amorosa.
You're my friend as long as you give me what I want.
És meu amigo enquanto me dás o que eu quero.
Not very deep, huh?
Não é lá muito profundo.
If you actually have a friend, you'll be thinking how to please your friend.
Se temos
What do you
amigo,
want?
nós gostaríamos de agradar esse amigo.
Mm-hmm. So in relation with God also, there are different levels of relationship.
Em relação com Deus também há diferentes tipos de relacionamento.
And this pastime here, which we're reading, of Mother Yasoda, again, God has a mother.
Neste relacionamento que temos aqui,
I thought he's the source of everything.
Deus é a origem de tudo.
How can he have a mother?
Como é que ele pode ter uma mãe?
For those who are on the material platform, this is a very difficult concept.
Para quem está na plataforma material, este é um conceito muito
We
difícil.
tend to equate, let's say, form and behavior and pastimes as predominantly a material affair.
Normalmente nós imaginamos tudo de uma forma muito material, de forma de atuar, os conceitos.
So what we see going on in this world, is merely a reflection of the spiritual realm.
O que vemos a acontecer neste mundo material é apenas um reflexo do mundo espiritual.
And this is the other aspect, which we'll mention also, is that this material world, being a reflection of the spiritual world, whatever we find in this world has its origins in the spiritual world.
Este mundo material sendo reflexo do mundo espiritual, tudo o que encontramos aqui tem a origem no mundo espiritual.
Fear.
Medo.
I think everybody has at some point of their life consciously experienced fear.
Creio que todos nós, a certo ponto da nossa vida, experienciamos medo.
Maybe due to different circumstances, but in one form or another, fear is a pervasive, let's say, experience within the universe. Everyone's afraid.
Digamos que medo é uma uma experiência que acontece neste mundo.
Afraid of something, whatever it may be.
Medo de algo.
It may be afraid of death, it may be afraid of somebody, it may be afraid of being in a certain situation.
Pode ser medo da morte, medo de alguém, medo de estar numa certa situação.
It may be a fear due to ignorance of uncertainty, what's going to happen.
Pode ser medo de incerteza de não saber o que vai acontecer.
Generally speaking, unless one's spiritually advanced, everyone in this material world has many reasons why they are afraid.
A não ser que sejamos espiritualmente muito avançados,
Maybe
temos
of
sempre alguma razão para ter medo.
disease,
Doenças,
maybe afraid of being, in this case, of being caught. Mischievous Krishna had done something which he shouldn't have done, you could say, and he's afraid of being punished. That's the simple answer.
neste caso, Krishna fez algo que não devia ter feito e não vai fugir, está com medo, com receio de ser.
Now, do we like being afraid?
Então, nós gostamos de ter medo?
Is it joyful? I can't wait to be afraid. Is it something you relish or hanker for?
Então, ter medo é algo que nós queremos, não é algo que nós adoramos ter.
It is possible. It is possible, up to a certain extent at least, to make some kind of psychological adjustment to this.
É possível que nós
Where you condition
podemos ter um ajuste psicológico.
condition yourself to pain is gain, pain is pleasure, fear is fun. You know, you can try to, rationalize like that.
É possível, por exemplo, podemos fazer dor é prazer, medo pode ser algum tipo de adrenalina.
The problem with that is that we'll miss the real purpose of it.
O problema com isto é que nós desviamos do propósito real.
These, we say, diseased or unnatural mentality, disease means dis-ease, isn't it? These are meant to be there to inspire or to ignite in us a quest or a desire for something higher.
Esta condição mental está lá para nos inspirar a obter e buscar algo superior.
Not just to tolerate or to try to show our strength by not being affected. That's not the goal at all.
Não por tolerar e mostrar-se forte. Não, isso não é o objetivo.
So fear in this world, because there's fear in the spiritual world.
Então há medo neste mundo material porque há medo no mundo espiritual.
That transformation starts when people have a fear of God.
A transformação começa quando nós temos medo de Deus.
It's a very preliminary stage.
É uma fase muito inicial.
Most people they say God-fearing. You know this term, God-fearing? In English is a very common phrase, God-fearing. A God-fearing person, that means they're afraid of acting against the law of God,
Esta expressão, que é muito usada em inglês, é uma expressão que diz pessoas que têm
And
medo de...
in most religions, there's an element, if not quite a large element of this type of relationship.
Muitas das religiões têm este tipo de relação com Deus.
God fear. We're afraid of acting in a way that we'll go punished or that we're going to go to hell or whatever it may be.
Ter medo de ser punido ou de ir para o inferno.
In the law of the land, people the idea of punishments is manifold, you could say, but one of them is to have a disincentive for people to commit crime. You're going to get punished.
Isto é também algo que acontece nas leis materiais, este incentivo do medo, se cometeres algo, serás punido.
Most people don't like to be fined.
Muitas pessoas
Do they?
não gostam de ser multadas.
So you try to follow the road rule, right?
Temos seguir as regras.
I hope I can accumulate a lot of fines today. I'm going to drive as fast as I can and not stop at any traffic lights and whatever other horrible things.
Normalmente não fazemos isto, vamos tentar obter mais multas de dois.
Park my car right in the middle of the main circus, the main roundabout in Lisbon.
Estacionar o meu carro no meio de uma rotunda aqui em Lisboa.
And everything, go the wrong way down a one-way street. In this way, I'll have a wonderful time today. I'm going to get so many fines and I'm going to be banned from driving for life. It's going to be wonderful. Well, most people don't think like that. Oh no, I've got a parking fine. Oh no! You know, there's a fear of that, you know, of getting fined or arrested, punished. It's meant to be there. We follow rules, law, whatever you want to call it. So there are God-given laws also, which people, that's what religion basically means. It means the law of God. It's supposed to be anyway. And if you follow it, you generally are okay. If you don't follow it, you expect to get punished if you're God, if you believe in all that. Children. Now, let's put in situation of comparison here. Krishna is God. Okay, let's assume that Krishna is God. So why on earth is he playing the role of a child? Well, there's two sides here. Just the supreme controller. You ever look back on your childhood? It has many facets, many aspects, but oftentimes I think, oh, that was fun, you know. A kind of a freedom, huh? No responsibility. You didn't have to worry about, you know, this and that. Even worldly events were not really of any significance, unless you're in the middle of them. Even worldly events were not very significant at that stage. Intelligence has not matured particularly. So whatever comes to your mind, that's it, you know. And you have some fun. Behaving like a mad person, a crazy kid. And you get away with it, more or less. It's expected. And, you know, but still, the parents are gradually training, restricting, sometimes punishing, and so on. Don't do that. But I want to do it. You ever had that? You know, ever had that problem? You want to do something, your parents say, no, you can't do it. When you were a kid. And what'd you do? What'd you do? What'd you do? What's a child do? He can't get what it wants. What's it do? He knows quite well. Throws a tantrum, starts bawling its eyes out or something like that. Screaming, slamming the door. Whatever age the child may be. I'm leaving home, I'm never coming back. Bang. You know, if you're a little bit older, you might do that. Now, another aspect of that is that, okay, of course, every kid's different, but the common response is if the parents start to punish the child starts to fear starts to become affected. I'm going to smack you. Or, I don't know if they do that anymore. It's probably against the law, but they used to smack the naughty child, you know? You smack. Boing. You don't generally like being smacked. Teachers used to, they've changed the laws now, I know, but they used to cane the children, you know, cane. And things like that. It's not something you generally look forward to. And most children were afraid of being caned. I'm not saying all, but most. It's not something you generally ask for, you know. So it's not something you want. So here we see that another aspect. Okay, Krishna, we can understand. Maybe, for fun, God takes the position of a child. Now, what's even more mysterious is that he's God and he's afraid. How can God be afraid? If God's afraid, well, what am I supposed to do?
Se Deus tem medo, o que é que eu posso fazer?
He seems to be fearful of the stick of Maria Soda. He's running for his life.
Parece estar com medo com
Now he's been caught.
o pau da mãe Yashoda e agora está a fugir e agora
Caught by
foi
Maria.
apanhado.
It's incredible. He's supposed to be God, and Maria Soda is holding the stick, and he's crying. He's God. Come on.
Suposto ser Deus, mas a mãe Yashoda está com o pau na mão e apanhou e ele está a chorar.
He's believe it or not, he's enjoying this.
E ele está a desfrutar disto.
It's hard for the materialist because it's a reflection. So in a reflection, sometimes we see things are upside down. Huh? We look at a reflection in the water.
Como isto é reflexo, nós como
So,
material,
what is-
as coisas ao contrário.
What is miserable in this world, some you could say on the transcendental plane, can be very pleasurable.
Que, por exemplo, miserável.
Blissful fear. Can you imagine?
Pode ser fantástico.
Blissful fear.
Medo transcendental.
The Krishna's enjoying it. He's relishing ecstasy. What is he relishing? Is he relishing maybe the stick is also spiritual, but what is he relishing? He's relishing the love of Maria Soda.
O que ele está a adorar neste momento é o amor da mãe Yashoda.
And in this world, of course, it's not all pure, but in this world, the child relishes the love of its mother.
Neste mundo o amor não é puro, mas mesmo assim uma criança adora o amor da sua mãe.
The mother should have only love for the child.
A mãe deveria ter só amor pela sua mãe.
And even her admonishment of the child is only for the welfare of the child.
Mesmo a sua punição será sempre ao benefício da criança.
That same mood is here
O mesmo
in the spiritual
comportamento
world. In the material world we have Mahamaya, the material energy,
no mundo material está
Which-
uma Mahamaya,
bewilders the living entity.
que ilude as entidades vivas
And makes us think that we're the enjoyer.
e faz-nos pensar que nós somos os desfrutadores.
Makes us think that we're in the center.
Faz-nos pensar que estamos no centro.
Makes us see everything in relationship to ourselves.
Faz-nos ver tudo em relação connosco mesmos.
So when things don't go well, then we feel disturbed.
Então, quando temos que as coisas não estão a correr bem, ficamos perturbados.
It's the effect of Mahamaya,
Isto é o efeito da Mahamaya.
creating circumstances, covering the living entity's real knowledge and creating circumstances which bring distress to the living entity.
Cobrir o verdadeiro conhecimento da entidade viva e criar situações que criam
Fear
medo.
and so many dukkhalayam, shashvatam, dukkhalayam, a place where there is suffering. Huh?
Num lugar onde há sofrimento.
This is Mahamaya, material energy's arrangement.
Isto é Mahamaya.
In the spiritual energy, the origin of that Maya is Yoga Maya, the internal energy, also creates situations.
E a energia espiritual, a Yoga Maya, também
And
cria
the
situações.
situations in the material world are to put us in a position where we think, I'm the enjoyer.
E estas posições no mundo material são para nós pensarmos, nós somos os desfrutadores.
But the spiritual world, everything's arranged for Krishna's enjoyment.
E no mundo espiritual, tudo é organizado pelo desfruto de Krishna.
So as a child, they were just taking one example here. As a child, in this material world, as the parent or the child, they both relish the loving relationship between mother and child.
Neste mundo material, os dois desfrutam deste relacionamento
The
entre
child feels so happy sucking its mother's breast.
A criança fica tão feliz de mamar no seio da mãe.
And the mother feels so happy offering her breast to the child.
E a mãe fica muito feliz de oferecer o seu seio à criança.
No matter what species of life, the same thing is there.
Diferentes espécies
A pleasure is there. A familiar, affectionate relationship, parental relationship.
relações parentais e de afeto.
And if everything has its origin in the spiritual realm, in God Himself,
E tudo tem origem no mundo
then
espiritual.
relationship, which is the real essence of love, you could say, is relationship, is there in the spiritual world also.
A essência da relação amorosa está nas relações e as relações.
Parental relationship is there in this world. It may be perverted and sometimes not very nice, but it has its origins in the spiritual world.
Estas relações têm origem no mundo espiritual.
So Krishna, In this case, we see here even Yamaraj Prabhupada has mentioned the Lord of Death and the Lord of Punishment. Even he's afraid of the devotees because they are protected by Krishna, so he cannot do anything to punish the devotees.
Diz aqui, Yamaraj, o semideus da morte, tem medo dos devotos porque eles são protegidos por Krishna.
Because they're protected by Krishna, and he's also a servant of Krishna, so he has to be careful.
Eles são protegidos por Krishna e Yamaraj também é um servente de Krishna.
And here we see Mother Yasoda punishing God.
E aqui vemos Mother Yasoda a punir Deus.
Ever heard of that? Someone punishing God?
Já viram esta?
You naughty God, I'm going to beat you. Inconceivable, huh? Impossible to visualize unless one understands what love really means.
Inconcebível, a não ser que nós entendamos o que amor verdadeiramente é.
And this existence, even Mother, it goes even beyond knowledge.
Vai para além do conhecimento.
You may know that all my business is to bring pleasure to God. Okay, fine.
Nós podemos saber, o meu intuito é
And
prazer a
the
Deus.
practicing stage, as we mentioned, religion begins there, to somehow transform our lives to bring pleasure to God step by step. Huh?
A religião começa aí, quando nós começamos a tentar...
Because that's what we're meant for. We exist, that's why we exist, to bring pleasure to God.
É para isso que existimos, para dar prazer a Deus. Krishna.
But the elevated devotees, those who've reached that platform of pure love of God, don't even think like that.
Mas aqueles que alcançaram a plataforma última de puro amor por Deus, nem sequer pensam assim.
It's like, for instance, say, even becomes the president of Portugal.
Então imaginemos que o filho de uma mãe torna-se presidente de Portugal.
When he goes home to his mother,
Quando volta a casa à sua mãe,
the relationship is different, isn't it?
a relação é diferente.
The president may come home, and the first thing the wife does, she may slap him on the face.
O presidente pode voltar para casa e a sua esposa...
Does he call the police?
Na cara.
Does he call the police?
Ele chama a polícia.
Assault. My wife has assaulted me.
Minha mulher está a bater.
Arrest her.
Prenda-a.
Maybe, but not usually.
Talvez, mas não
It's
normalmente.
a different relationship to being in the Parliament House as the president.
É uma relação
It's
diferente.
a reverential relationship. At home, it's very familiar.
Uma relação diferente de estar no Parlamento ou estar...
The children come up and, pass stool maybe, or, their night diapers on the president's lap.
As crianças podem fazer as necessidades das fraldas.
Maybe drool all over him.
Vomitar em cima dele.
Maybe the father, and then
Comer à
the
criança.
child take offense. No.
O pai sente-se ofendido. Não.
There's a kind of a love there. There's a kind of a rasa, a relationship there, which is sweet
Há tipo de relação que é...
to nobody else. It doesn't look very sweet to others. It's a little
Para outros não parece muito doce.
the mother washing the diapers.
A mãe a lavar as fraldas.
Bhagavatam says that the child's stool smells like sandalwood to the mother.
A Bhagavatam diz que as fezes da sua criança
It's incredible how love is.
sandal.
Just like the smell of one's own stool may be very nice to the stool passer, but not to anyone else.
Sandalwood. Sandalwood.
Sandalwood, yeah. Very sweet. Can you believe it? To everyone else, it's horrible. But to the mother who loves the child and loves everything about the child, including its stool, it smells like sandalwood. The socks, the dirty, smelly socks, the smelly clothes, everything, the sweat, the stool, the saliva, it's all nectar.
Para a mãe, todos estes cheiros desagradáveis, como do suor,
That's if there's love there,
das fezes, para a mãe,
the degree of love.
isto é o verdadeiro amor.
And the mother is always thinking for the welfare of the child, always.
Não está sempre a pensar no bem-estar da criança.
And because it's there in the spiritual. Now, if Mother Yasoda was thinking her son is God, if she was thinking, my son is God, would that be the case? No.
A mãe da Yasoda não está a pensar que o meu filho é Deus. Não, isto não é o caso.
Now, the mother in an ordinary world may sometimes be proud, my son is the president. Okay.
No mundo material, por exemplo, a mãe pode ficar orgulhosa.
She may express that
Filha
sometimes,
é presidente. Não pode expressar isto.
especially with others. Oh, my son is. What does your son do? Oh, my son is a doctor.
Especialmente, alguém pergunta, o que é que o teu
What is
filho
your
faz?
son? Oh, my son is a lawyer. My son is a lawyer.
O filho é um advogado.
And what is your son? My son is the president of Portugal. It's like, you can't go higher. And it's like, whoa, wow.
E seu filho?
Phew.
Presidente de Portugal.
The president.
Não pode ser mais alto que isto.
Yeah, you're the top mum. Number one mum.
É bem mais elevado.
In America, they say the first lady and the wife of the president. She's like the first lady in America. You see,
Primeira dama.
big position. She hasn't done anything except for marry a man who happened to become the president, but now she's a big girl also, you know.
A única coisa que ela fez foi casar com alguém que se tornou presidente. Não, mas agora dá uma.
And she may be very proud of it. But in this, on the spiritual realm, there's no room for pride.
Ele está muito orgulhosa, mas no mundo espiritual
There's only love.
não há espaço para orgulho.
So Mother Yasoda is not thinking even her son. If you had this mood of reverence, it would diminish the relish of natural loving relationship,
Se tivesse este,
spontaneous relationship.
esta relação de reverência, ia diminuir.
There's nothing like spontaneous loving relationships.
Não há nada como relações
It's
espontâneas.
an automatic. There is no restriction.
Duas pessoas que
There's word to a little degree, we see that also, but it's painful.
neste mundo material também vemos isso, mas normalmente costuma ser doloroso.
Painful effect of that in the spiritual world is a blissful experience. It enhances every aspect of the relationship.
Doloroso neste mundo material, mas no mundo espiritual aumenta todo este néctar da relação.
Hard to grasp. God is a little boy playing around Mother Yasoda. But this is all bringing great pleasure to Mother Yasoda. Is bringing great pleasure. Mother Yasoda is a pure devotee of the Lord in parental affection.
É difícil de imaginar para nós, mas neste tipo de relação, como está a acontecer aqui, Mãe Ajuda está a obter grande prazer.
At least we maybe understand if whatever we experience in this world must have its origins in the spiritual world.
Pelo menos devemos de compreender tudo o que acontece neste mundo material tem origem no mundo espiritual.
If we accept that much, it becomes a little easier.
Se aceitarmos isto, pelo menos torna-se mais fácil.
So parental loving relationships also have their existence on the transcendental spiritual plane.
Relações parentais também têm a sua posição no mundo espiritual.
But there, of course, they're pure, totally pure, and love is the only motivating factor.
Mas é claro que elas são puras e o único motivo é o amor.
Her Mother Yasoda is only thinking of Krishna's pleasure.
Portanto, também ajuda só está a pensar no prazer.
Just like we've already heard about the pastimes of Krishna misbehaving.
Já ouvimos os passatempos de Krishna a comportar-se mal.
He purposely does these things for fun and to enact an amazing pastime which relished by everyone who hears it.
Ele faz isto por diversão e assim todos nós que ouvimos estes passatempos vamos obter este bem.
And this is one of the significant factors of Krishna's pastimes,
Isto é
God's pastimes,
facto significante dos passatempos de
is
Krishna.
that by hearing these pastimes,
Por ouvirmos os seus passatempos,
we become free of the tendency to try to enjoy or try to exploit this material energy.
então ao ouvirmos estes passatempos nós ficamos com menos propensão para desfrutar deste mundo.
By hearing Krishna's performing these pastimes, which we see in this material world also, one becomes freed of the calls of our being in the material world.
Ao ouvir estes passatempos de Krishna, nós ficamos libertos deste mundo material.
So aspiring devotees relish to hear this pastime
Aspirantes a devotos aspiram por ouvir estes
because it purifies satam pasangam mamaveya sangvido bhavanti rikarna rasayana kataha, that it cleanses our hearts.
limpa os nossos corações.
Its relish is rasa, as a relationship is relishable
Estas relações são relíquias.
because they're hearing submissively these pastimes and Krishna is reciprocating.
Estamos a ouvir submissivamente estes passatempos, Krishna está a
And
reciprocar.
a relishable taste.
E daí esse devoto um sabor néctar.
In the relationship with Radha, with Mother Yasoda and Krishna, there's not even a thought of that. There's only one thought of I love Krishna. She's boiling milk to make milk sweets for Krishna, for his pleasure. But Krishna wanted his mother's attention. So she, for a moment, she went away from the kitchen to feed her milk, breast milk, to Krishna. And meanwhile, the milk starts to boil over. Now it is described why was the milk boiling over, not just because, which is a normal thing you could say, but it had another reason why the milk was boiling over.
É normal que o leite estivesse a ferver em cima, mas há outra razão para estar a acontecer isto.
This is another inconceivable, from the material point of view, inconceivable factor of the spiritual realm.
É algo inconcebível novamente para o mundo material, mas é um facto muito espiritual.
The milk is boiling over because the milk is personified.
O leite está a
It's not just
transbordar.
energy.
O leite é uma personalidade.
It's conscious.
É consciente.
In the material world we can say that is not conscious, but in the spiritual world it is conscious.
Nós no mundo material não é consciente, mas no mundo espiritual é consciente.
How far we are from understanding the difference between matter and spirit.
A diferença que estamos em compreender.
Actually, everything is spirit, it's just covered by ignorance.
Tudo que não está coberto no espírito.
Covered by ignorance. The material world is also spirit, but it's covered by ignorance.
O material também é espiritual, mas está coberto pela ignorância.
But in the spiritual world there is no influence of ignorance.
No mundo espiritual não há ignorância alguma.
There's only pure goodness.
Só há bondade pura.
So the milk is boiling over because the milk is thinking, oh no, we're useless.
O leite está a transbordar porque está a dizer, oh não.
Krishna won't be interested in us now at all. Our life is meaningless. We may as well try to commit suicide.
Mais vale cometer suicídio.
So let us all pour into the fire and die.
Mais vale transbordar para o fogo e morrer.
Because Krishna is sucking his mother's breast milk, we can't compare with that.
Krishna está a tomar o leite do seio de sua mãe.
We may be the best of cow milk. We may be the best of cow milk, maybe.
Nós podemos ser o melhor do leite.
But we're nothing compared to Mother Yasoda's breast milk.
Mas não somos nada comparado com o leite.
So let us commit suicide.
Portanto, vamos cometer
And the milk till, okay, we'll all pour out the pot and burn ourselves in the fire.
Ok, vamos sair fora do pote e
So Mother Yasoda, seeing what was about to happen,
então a mãe Yashoda a ver o que vai acontecer.
she put Krishna down.
Ela pôs Krishna no
And she ran to the kitchen to turn off the heat or to save the milk pots from boiling over.
para a cozinha para
She could hear it rising. You can hear the sound.
preparar o fogo.
Why did she do that? Why?
Por que ela fez isso?
Why did she leave? She's thinking, oh, this is a dilemma, isn't it? It's a dilemma. Here I am feeding my baby. And at the same time the milk is about to boil over. What to do?
É dar de mamar ao meu filho e ele está a transbordar. O que é que eu devo fazer?
Well, you could say the inspiration, the will of Krishna is love. He wanted to unfold this magnificent pastime.
Podemos dizer que a vontade de Krishna era desenrolar este passatempo magnífico.
And here's Mother Yasoda, the breast milk.
Vamos só para o presente de Krishna.
Well, she chose the milk because it seemed to be an emergency.
Mas ela escolheu o leite porque parecia ser uma
She
emergência.
could always come back and feed Krishna again, but first save the milk.
Pode sempre voltar e dar.
It's emergency, huh?
Primeiro, salve o leite.
So she did.
Então foi o que ela fez.
But like any child,
Mas como qualquer filho,
Krishna was thinking, what is this?
o que é isto? Isto
The
é passar.
child by nature sees itself in the center.
Uma criança, por natureza, vê-se a si mesma no
And
centro.
baby Krishna thought, this is rascaldom. This is rascaldom.
Talvez Krishna pensou, o que é
And
isto?
Krishna got quite upset.
E ficou bastante perturbado.
He took a stone and smashed the pot of yogurt that Mother Yasoda had been churning also.
Então pegou numa pedra e partiu pote de iogurte que a mãe
And the yogurt all poured out everywhere.
E o iogurte saiu
And then, realizing, uh-oh, there's a danger here, so then Krishna ran for it. He hid. He went into the storeroom, but he was still feeling a bit angry, so he smashed a few more pots and took some more butter and things out of the storeroom. Started to feed the monkeys. And eventually, Mother Yasoda came back to see what mischief had taken place there. Huh? Oh my God. Well, what am I going to do, this naughty boy? He goes to the neighbor's house and... Now, what will a mother normally do? I've got to do something to teach this child a lesson. Now, there's another interesting factor here, is that here in this pastime of Krishna breaking the... After thousands of years, we can still relish the same pastime. But anyone who hears it, it destroys the anarthas within their hearts. Not just fun to hear. We have to hear from the right source. We have to hear from the source of love. Not some self-centered interpretation, but the pure understanding of this pastime. So like any mother, Mother Yasoda is thinking how to help my child now. What am I going to do? Well, otherwise what's going to happen to him when he grows up? My goodness, what's he going to be? If he's like this as a child, he steals whatever he likes, he breaks whatever he likes, he has to get everything he wants, he's going to get really spoiled. We have a saying, or we did have a saying in English, I guess they don't use it anymore. Spare the rod, spoil the child. In other words, if you don't punish the child, you're going to spoil the child. And Prabhupada said even the teachers, they should at least hold the cane. They don't use it, but they hold it. The child then becomes afraid. Huh? And that bamboo rod. The Yasoda picks up the rod, the cane, and when she sees what's going on, she chases her son. Of course, Krishna tries to justify when he's eventually caught this, only briefly in the Bhagavatam, but he tries to justify, it wasn't me who broke the pot, why are you punishing me? It was you. When you ran to the kitchen, you didn't see it, you hit the pot as you ran to the kitchen and it fell over and broke. Another aspect of childish relationships. The child tries to make up a story to defend. It wasn't me, it wasn't me. I never said, even before you even say anything, you haven't even said it was you. And the child says, no, it wasn't me, it was him, it was him. I didn't steal it. I didn't steal it. I didn't break it. It was him, it was him. Even you haven't even said anything yet, and already the child said he didn't do it. They didn't do it. This is a common thing. They're feeling guilt. Huh? So Krishna was like that too. Huh? I didn't do it. I didn't break the pot. But what about the butter and the yogurt and the sweets you're feeding to the monkeys? This butter, this yogurt, these sweets are useless. Even the monkeys don't want them. They're no good. What can you do with useless butter, ghee and sweets? I'm trying to get rid of them. I'm trying to distribute to the monkeys. It's like children have this tendency to defend themselves like this. You know. Why? They're afraid of being punished. They're afraid of being shown up. In this case, Krishna tried that, but still, it wasn't work. And Mother Yasoda didn't believe him. So then he started to see that and he started to cry.
Já estava a tentar evitar a sua sorte, mas
And then Mother Yasoda's heart,
ele começou a chorar.
she couldn't bear to see her child crying.
E a mãe não conseguiu.
And her heart melted.
A sua criança a chorar.
So then she put down the stick
E ela pousou a cara.
and tied her son to the wooden grinding mortar. But that's another story.
É outra história.
This is a story of love which is way beyond the concept of material love.
É uma história de amor que vai muito para além da concepção material.
Within this material world, I suppose love stories are probably the most, I don't know, there's the opposites actually, like hate and violence and love stories. They're probably the two most popular stories in the material world.
Mesmo no material, provavelmente as histórias de amor e ódio são os tópicos mais populares.
Like violence and crime and horrible things, you know, capture people's attention too, and love also. It's this is a story of real love, pure love.
Isto é uma história de amor puro.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And this is a pure devotee.
Isto é uma foto.
They can capture Krishna with their love,
Podem capturar.
not with their knowledge,
Não com o seu conhecimento.
not with their prayers,
Não com as suas orações.
not with their endeavors.
Não com os seus sacrifícios.
It's with their heart.
É com o seu coração.
Their heart, there's nothing in their heart except for how to bring pleasure to Krishna.
Não há nada mais no seu coração do que como dar prazer a Krishna.
And that's what captures Krishna.
E isto é o captura Krishna.
So the more in our heart that we're thinking how to act in a way for Krishna's pleasure, that's what surrender means. It's not just doing things.
Isto é o que render-se significa, não é só fazer coisas, é o seu coração.
Of this mentality or consciousness of bringing pleasure to Krishna,
Esta mentalidade, esta consciência de dar prazer,
which includes his devotees
o que inclui os seus devotos
and includes his energy.
e inclui a sua energia.
And everything is Krishna's energy.
Tudo é energia de Krishna.
And on the pure platform, everyone is Krishna's devotee.
E na plataforma pura, todos
We're
são
just
devotos de Krishna.
Forgotten, that's all.
Nós esquecemos disso.
So the greatest way to bring pleasure to Krishna is to remind people,
Então, grande
you
forma de dar
are.
prazer a Krishna é
Remind everyone we actually have a relationship with Krishna.
temos uma relação com Krishna.
And it's not just within this world, we have an eternal relationship, spiritual relationship with Krishna.
Não é só neste mundo material, temos uma relação eterna.
A selfless,
espiritual.
a selfless, loving exchange.
Uma relação altruísta.
Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.